Volts, the uncommon electrified mobs that have specific links to treasure. Volts commonly spawn in the extreme hills in the overworld at a light level of 10 or less. They are roughly the same size as blazes but have some different special features. These mobs are vulnerable to sunlight. However, the extreme hills aren't the only location that Volts spawn in. Rarely, they have a 40% chance to spawn in an abandoned mineshaft. Since the abandoned mineshafts are valuable sources of treasure, the player would come along a lot more in these mineshafts. If a Volt ended up battling a player or any other mob, Volts would gain the advantage since the abandoned mineshafts have little space for a player to make distance between the player and the Volt in combat. Volts deal 3 hearts of damage on easy difficulty, 3.5 hearts of damage on normal difficulty, and they deal 4.5 hearts of damage on hard difficulty. Volts also have 10 hearts of health. Unlike blazes, Volts have really strong armor points. Combining the armor points with the hit points of a Volt can lead up to the Volt having 47.5 hearts of health. When close to a player within 48 blocks, Volts will catch lightning for a few seconds. When charged, the Volt will shoot a trio of lightning balls towards player from roughly 16 blocks away. The Volt will somehow stop charging lightning and wait for 5 seconds before attacking again. The Volt's idle and combat sounds are slightly different than the Blaze's sounds. Volts have good accuracy and sight range when dealing with the player. A Volt's lightning ball is slightly stronger than a Blaze's fireball, dealing 3 hearts of damage. When a Volt is being pursued by the player, the Volt will attempt to fly slightly 0.5 blocks right above the player so that it is comfortable with the range. If the Volt is somehow damaged by the player, the Volt will give a signal to all nearby Volts within 48 blocks to team up in groups to shoot the player with followed coordinated attacks. The Volt will slowly approach closer to the player so it can have higher chances to do significant damage. When hit by a Volt's lightning ball, the player will suffer from lightning strokes, which slightly gives the player some sight disadvantage. The player will suffer extra damage due to the lightning. Volts will drop 0 to 1 iron nuggets. They will also drop 0 to 2 redstone dust and will rarely drop a Volt rod, which can be used to summon lightning. Volts will attack wolves when caught at their sight. Wolves would take projectile damage from the Volt's lightning ball. But if the wolf is hit by the trio of the lightning ball, then the wolf will instantly die. Volts will also attack wither skeletons due to their dislike of their black bodies. However, wither skeletons are immune to fire damage as well as lightning damage from the Volt's lightning balls. So wither skeletons can easily walk away from a Volt fight. However, Volts fear the wither skeleton boss to be a dangerous mob, and they know it is a violating issue that they hold in their range sight since it's also purely black. So yes, Volts will also attack the wither. Volts will attack the wither even when its health has not been fully generated yet. When the wither is ready to start destroying all mobs it comes across, just like attacking a player, Volts will remain slightly above the wither to gain the best range it wants as possible. But Volts need to be careful and smart to get to that range. instructions to the wolves on how they are going to approximate the bolt. When the player finally brings the tamed wolves to the battle, as soon as the player attacks the bolt once, all the player's tamed wolves will back the player by rushing to attack the bolt. If the bolt flies on top of the wolves, then the wolves will not be able to attack the bolt. So the wolves need to deal as much damage they can while the bolt is on the ground. When the bolt is being pursued by the wolf, it will instantly kill it at its lightning ball. So the player is the one that needs to act as a distraction for the wolves to attack the bolt while the bolt's sight is on the player. Also, the bolt's capabilities are superior to a wolf's. The bolt's extra armor is not just used for combat. It also can be used to survive for a longer period of time since they take damage each half second when in contact with rain. Bolts will not attempt to seek to shade upon taking damage from rain. They will still attack players even if taking damage from rain. Bolts take half a heart of damage every half second when hit by rain, so they get a longer surviving time than blazes do due to their extra armor. Since the rain cannot be stopped by anything, bolts have to suffer this as time goes. Bolts also take damage from water, which can be found almost everywhere in the overworld. Thanks a lot for watching this video about the Volt. Hopefully, this video has taught you most of the things about the Volt and why this mob deserves to be added to Minecraft. Please state in the comments what you think of this mob, including everything about the mob and its components and details. If you feel like it, give this mob a nice rating out of 10. Also state if you would like another mob video in the comments and what mob
like OGs and jail pics. Welcome to the land.
Please press the subscribe button.
Welcome to the land.
It will make sense to this mob.
Welcome to the land. Straps a couple words in your hand.
Bye.